Okay, good evening, everyone. I hope you're doing great. If you can hear me clearly, please type 1. Lucas, Ivan, Nash, great. Okay, Nash, do you have your mic or any of our friends? If you can just test your mic so I can just make sure I can hear you as well.
Hi, Professor. Can you hear me?
Yes,
Hey.
loud and clear. Thank you very much.
No worries.
Appreciate it. So the thing is, as I have mentioned, there's one friend said, I saw the email about lab tomorrow for bonus marks. Are you covering new material or it is just to get extra mark? Okay, I'm gonna tell you that it's a good question. We have 4 slides and normally we can cover 2 or 3 PowerPoints in every session, but we already have 4 kind of lengthy PowerPoints. I'm not sure if I can finish it in 1 hour for today. So we are gonna cover and finish the things definitely maximum by tomorrow, the first hour of it. And I'm gonna share the video as always. You can just get to the channel. So I'm gonna record the session that we have from 11. So high probably there would be another, I don't know, half an hour or 1 hour to finish the content. So content wise, you can just rely on that video and you don't need to show up and there is no worry about it. And I'm gonna share the PowerPoints and many people found the PowerPoints self-descriptive with a minimum challenge to understand what the content is. Could I answer your question, Stefan? My pleasure. And again, for our friends, even if you have already got all the marks, everything, and you just want to have a kind of saving for the final exam and just think that 3 bonus marks could help, by all means, you're more than welcome to join the session tomorrow. So without any further delay, if you don't mind, I'm gonna just get to today's question, but as always, I forget. So let's just get this out of the way. The code for @class today is EDVW. Would you please just try it and see if it works? Give me a confirm. I said again, let me just get a snapshot. Okay, thank you very much. And the question for this slide would be, how do I avoid setting with copy warning in Pandas? Great question. Let me just show you the cases that you might see that. And because it is warning, sometimes it is misleading. As programmers, guys, we never that much think about warnings. As long as it is no error, we are fine. But it's not always the case when we deal with pandas. And let me show you some scenarios. Everybody, please just pull up this data frame. And my apologies if I tell you to just give me confirmation all the time. Whenever you are done with that, just say import pandas as PD and get that IMDb ratings and see the head of it. And when you are done, please type 2. I'll wait for a couple of more seconds. Algor, Alvaro, Chloe, did it work? No, there's no question, just we need to finish that. Okay, awesome. There's no question, just finish this slide. Okay, then the next thing is the scenario one is for content rating. Let me just show you one thing, guys. If you say, hey, go to the content rating column and see how many is null values we have. So for doing that, we say is null dot sum, and it's going to show you the sum of all those things. You can use this one as a filter to just show those rows that their content rating is not any value, they are null values, right? Is it clear for you guys? I'm going to say, hey, go to the movies data frame, show me those rows that the content rating is null, like these three. We see that there are just three. Okay, now if you go to the movies.content rating and you check the unique values, you can see we have 65 not rated. Guys, not rated technically means that there was null value. So we have 3 that technically not filled by the users, and there are 65 that they are not rated too. We want to combine them. Imagine that we want to convert not rated into null values. So in that case, we can get the benefit of null methods that we can have in pandas. That's the idea. For doing that, look what we are doing. We say, hey, go to the movies that the content rating is equal to not rated, and look at what we have here. We have some of the rows that the content rating in them is not rated, right? So this is a kind of filter that will limit our data frame into just those rows that the content rating in them is equal to not rated. If it is clear, please type 3. Ivan, thank you very much. Nash, Parsa, Eva. Hey, Eva, how are you doing? Okay. Okay, glad to see your name again. Look at this one. Now we say that movies that content underscore rating equal not rated dot content rating. So it is going to show us only, guys, look at this one. It is going just to show us those content ratings that the value is not rated. Huh? Maybe you say that, okay, now it's time, Reza, to just change the value into not a number. Simply saying it like this. Say whatever we have is equal to numpy dot not a number. I would be grateful if you just spend a few seconds, type this. Well, we need definitely to import numpy. Would you please finish that? And you should get something like a warning from there. Whenever you are done, please type 4. Thank you, Nash. Thank you, Ivan. Alvaro. Okay, take your time to finish, but meanwhile that our friends try to finish, I want to ask you this question. This warning says a value is trying to be set on a copy of a slice from a data frame. Do you think that it could change those not rated into null values? Please just say yes or no, Y or N. Do you think that it was successful? Because, well, I just want to see your opinions. Do you think that it could? Nash, what do you think? Do you think that it could just get it through the data frame and make it null? Okay, good guess. Let's go to this one. And if you try movies.content rating is null, and that is something that we checked for knowing the number of rows, that the content rating was equal to null, right? And still it shows 3. If it could just make it work, definitely it should be 65 plus 3. But why I couldn't make this part work? What is your opinion? So technically, this warning was not just only a warning, it couldn't do the job. Why it couldn't do the job, and do you have any solution for it? Because you didn't access the rows. Very good guess, Algor. Because it's a copy of a part of the data frame and it is not being set permanently. Bravo. Well, to saying set permanently, even did we do it temporarily? Let's just. I very much like the combination of what Al Gore and Nash said, and let me just show you something here, and that is, look, if you do you remember that I said if you have something like this one, that this is a part of data set, well, the original movies is filtered with one part, and then we said dot content rating, so a data set, then a smaller part of data set, then just one, and we chained them. Do you remember the word that I said before? Chaining. And I said, if there is a chance that you can do it in one shot using something like iLock or lock, please go that approach. You remember that for sure. So let's just get back to this and see. We say movies.lock, and I want to go to the rows that the content ratings would be not rated, and I just want to have the column content rating. So in that case, we are going to actually identify just those cells, and we replace the value that they have inside with a not a number, numpy, not a number kind of thing. And guess what? There is no warning, no issue. And if you say, hey, show me how many is null value we have there, it's going to tell you that we have 68. Okay. It is not chaining. It is just directly fetching with one shot, not chaining. And as Nash addressed correctly, the pandas just got confused that, Reza, do you really want to work on a view of it? So view means connected to the original, or do you want to work on a copy of it? So if you could relate to what I said, please give me high five and type 5. If not, Please type 6. Al Gore, Ivan, Nash, Anand. So we have 5 out of 29. A little bit more, thank you very much. The secret is here, we just focus directly, while in the previous one, just please note that here we have one part, and then we say, give me a copy by saying dot content rating. You just get a copy of that, and you are not working on a view of the data. I mean, it is not called by reference. You know what I'm saying? Okay. By saying that, we are ready for, well, this is something that I can just show. We have the getter part, we get the value, and we have a set part, but this is a copy, right? As Nash beautifully said. So it says that Panda is not sure if the get part brings a view or a copy, as if it is a view, the set would affect on it, and if it is a copy, it wouldn't change the original data, right? By the way, by tomorrow night, I'm gonna share a package for final, so you can just have everything that you need for the review. Okay. Look at this one. Lock solves the problem by turning two operations into a single set item operation, right? So this is a kind of simple one operation instead of two operations. And after that, if you check, it shows that yes, we have 68 null values in the column. As a summary, we could say, if you want to select rows and columns in one command row, use lock. If there is a chance, use lock or ilock instead of chaining values. The second scenario that I want to share with you would be, so please, everybody, this time, let's have a list of movies that their star ratings are above or equal to 9, right? I repeat, we are going to use this time, we are going to use lock by saying movies.star_rating greater than or equal 9, colon, means that select those rows that the ratings in the star ratings are above that, and all the columns, colon. And you're gonna see these 4. Let me just explain. In the rest, you're gonna see in Colab, you will not receive any warning. And the policy has changed, and I can say upgraded to a level that if what you want actually happens, you're not going to show any warning in Colab. But if you use old-fashioned Anaconda or the older versions, you might see the warning that we are going to see in next slide. Please spend a few seconds whenever you are done with this and you see the result. Please type 1. Lovely. Thank you, Ivan. Al Gore. By the way, while you're typing, actually the first, second, third movies are great. The Dark Knight is not that much. Well, it's a nice comedy, if I'm not mistaken. But more people could finish. Lovely. Okay, Huai, thank you. John. So that's I'm mistaken. There's one in 2001. Oh, for the Dark Knight. I have to double check that. I watched it actually recently. Okay, let's go to the next part together and look at here. We want to say, guys, imagine that the Shawshank Redemption is the duration is not correctly set there as 142, and we want to change it to 150. Let's see what we can do. We just selected those fours and placed them into a new data frame. So we go to that data frame, my apologies, and we say that go to index number 0 and to duration and override it with 150. If you use Anaconda and you receive this kind of warning, please type 2. If you do not receive any warning, then you don't need to type 2. Okay, so just in case you receive that, actually, if you say top movies, please try it. You are gonna see there is no problem. So it actually got through and it changed the duration from 142 to 150. The thing is, the default value for such a case is copying. Means that if you get to original data set, which is movies, it is still 142. To avoid such a thing, you can explicitly say .copy. Then you assure pandas that I do not want a view of it. I want a copy of it, right? So simply, instead of having that, you say the same location of the data frame, but you say .copy. In that case, top movies explicitly mention that as a copy of a part of movies data frame, not a view of it. And in the case that you want to change the value without any warning, even in the old-fashioned deprecated environments in Anaconda, we don't see any warning. And you can check the movie's head and see the original value actually was not impacted, right? So if you got that and everything is super clear, please give me the second high five, type 5. No one does anything. Guys, it was not clear. Or if there is any question or things, please type 6, then I can review or answer your question. It didn't change the original data frame for me. Yes, it doesn't change. Actually, it is a copy. That's a good question. Al Gore said it didn't change the original. The original means movies, right, Al Gore? Okay, look at this one. We have selected just 4 rows out of how many rows that we have in the original data set and placed them in a new data frame called top movies. Please type 1 if you confirm that one, if it is clear so far. Lovely. And then we decided just to change something in the first row, in the duration column of it, and change 142 to 150. Is it clear? And what we did, actually, it was on top movies. The older versions wanted to show you that, hey, are you sure that you're going just to change the top movies, which is a copy of the original data frame, and that changes is not going to impact the original one. Are you sure you want to do that? Right? So in the old, well, now the default is copy, so you don't need to explicitly mention. I just want to say that if you deal with Anaconda and you see such warning, that is because it is not sure you really want copy or you want to work on a view of it. It means linked to the original one. If you explicitly say that, it's not going to show you any warning anymore, and it's going to change. And if you check the original one, as you said, it's not going to show you any changes. It just changes the top movies data frame, not the original one. Could I answer your concern? Okay, thank you very much for asking, actually. I could just continue with more confidence that more people are following, and then if there is any concern, don't hesitate, please, to ask your concerns. The next thing is, my pleasure. Thanks for asking. The question is, how do I change display options in Pandas? A great question. The thing is, by default, in Anaconda, you see the first 30 and the last 30 if you just say a data frame name. I'm not saying when you say data frame.head, which by default returns the first 5 rows. In Colab, actually, it shows the first 5 and the last 5. Imagine that you have a very lengthy in terms of having columns, a data frame, and the default value to show the columns would be 20. Is it possible to change any of these default values? And for instance, you show more number of columns or more number of rows? That is the question. So let's get to that without any further delay. Just please be careful if you want to apply such a thing into a data frame that has millions of rows, then it's gonna make trouble. The other thing is we are gonna show if you want to have comma separated things, what you need to do, and the trick that we are gonna learn today, in which conditions it's gonna work, and in which conditions you need to do some more steps to make it happen. For the sake of this data set, I want you please download, pull up the data from drinks by country from the Bitly resource, the path that we have. Whenever you could finish that, please type 1. Thank you very much, Ivan. Arsa, merci. Anand, bravo. Okay, you can get a screenshot, please, and then I go to the next slide. At your convenience, we do not have that time for now, but at your convenience, please just go to get option and see, my apologies, what are the options that you have in get options. So for instance, to display the maximum number of rows and so on and so forth. Before getting any further, so you see that here I found and I highlighted for you, display dot max rows. Let's, before anything, try that and see. If you say pd.get underscore option display dot max rows, would you please show me the number that you're going to get? Again, for those who want EDVW. Bravo. Let me just bring something cool out and then say, I'm waiting for more friends to just find that. Control F. 28. Okay, so this is what we did. And drinks. And then I said, guess the option. It says 60, but guess what? Actually, this is something that it shows, but this number belongs to Anaconda. The real number here is actually 10 because we see 5 first and 5 last rows. In Anaconda, it shows the first 30 and the last 30. So technically this number is for Anaconda, not for here. This should be. But let's just do one thing. And that is one of the questions that you're going to see in the quiz. And this one, if you say set option display max rows and you say none, means please do not have any restriction. So it's going to show all the content of the data frame. Guess what? For this one, it's not a big deal. We have just 193. But if we have millions, it's not going to work the way that you really like. So you're going to start scrolling for a big amount of time. So let's just do that. And if you say drinks, yeah. Okay, the old version that I had, Anand, you're using a new version. So it is changed. But the thing is, the old version that I had, actually after a while, I switched. You see that here, I have 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but you see only 0 to 4, correct? The first 5, the last 5. So it is changed. The thing is, it is changed, but the value that they set as the default value is not changed. Imagine that all of us are developers and we know that you forget to change those kind of settings, right? Anyway, so the thing is, let's just say max rows. And in that case, no matter if you use old version of Anaconda or you're using Colab, then there is no restriction at all. Look at this one. And one good thing, add class code. Can anybody help my friend? Okay, the thing is, look at this one. This is 190 some things. Anand, believe it or not, before any class, I check all these things because I always have this worry that if they have changed something in the recent version that they have released, right? To make sure that everything works. Anyway, so now it shows all the rows, as you see, 193 rows started from index 0. And the question now is, what if I want to change it back to what it was? So simply you say pd.reset option, and you're going to change what you changed a few seconds ago. So please do that. And then again, show the drinks, and it's going to bring you back to the default, whatever the default was on your computer, right? So this is another question of the quiz. So how can you bring it back to the default? Simply you say reset option and you pass the number of the name of an option that you wanted to reset it back to the factory setting, right? Guys, everybody get that? Okay, just to make sure that you're going to get the correct answer, please type this in the chat box. This is the answer, right? Reset underscore option. Lovely, Anand. Thank you very much. Bolebotavi, Pavan, Merci Algor, Rachel, Ronan, Ryan Yu, Said Stefan, Takami. Okay, bravo, merci. Let's go to the next part. You're gonna have the files by tomorrow night, maximum. So now the question is, okay, what is the default value of number of columns? You can simply say, okay, that's 20, and you can just, instead of get option display max calls, you can say set option display dot max columns. And if you pass none, what's it mean? Means that you do not have any restriction for the number of columns, so you can just display as much as columns you have. And definitely in that case, if the number of columns exceed the size of your monitor, you just need to scroll using the horizontal bar. By saying that, now there's a question. Imagine that I have changed lots of those default values, right? Should I just go and reset them one by one? I'm going to answer that question in no time. But for this one, let's again reset option display dot max columns. So it's going to bring it back to what it was. Okay, take your time. Whenever you reset and brought it back to the factory setting, then please type 3. Thank you, Anand. Ivan, merci. Okay, so now for the second part, I want to pull up a new data frame, and please let's pull up that Titanic data set. To save our time, I quickly just use this one. And then if you say train.head, it's going to show you the first 5 rows. And look at index number 1, row number 2. In the name column, you see that here it says ... and it shows that we have some stuff that we cannot fit it into the current length of the column. I want you please say pd.getOption. And if you say display.max underscore call widths, this time it's going to show you the number of characters. So call widths is nothing but the number of characters that you can fit into the column. In this case, we have 50 characters. What if you want to change that? You can guess. You can set option and then say comma, but this time you cannot say none. It doesn't accept. So for the change, let's just use something really big, like 1000. So set option max call widths in the display, and then say 1000. And look at the result. In that case, when you say train.head, it's not going to show you just th ... It's going to just completely, it's going to show the complete text over there. Okay. The other question that I have for you is, how about displaying the precision? Guys, I hope that I do not rush. If everything is super clear so far, would you please confirm it by typing 4? Excellent. Lovely. Thank you for your confirmation. Merci. Donald, thank you. This time, I would like to display the precision. And the precision is the number of decimal points that we have. So it's going to show you 6 as you see here, right? You can simply look at FAIR, for example, and it says that it is 7.2500. But we do not actually need that for digits. You might say, Reza, the default says 6 digits, but you show 4. Technically, 6 is the maximum number that we could have. Means that if your column has, for instance, 8 or 10 decimal points, you are going to just show 6 digits out of 10 or 6 digits out of 8. Does that make sense? But I want to change that value that we already have. We have just 4 digits, and I want to change it to just displaying 2. For doing that, I say set option. We learned that whenever we want to see what is the default value for it, we are going to use get option. But when we want to set that, we are going to say set 2. And if you just ask to show the head, now it just shows 2-digit precisions or 2 decimal points. Okay. I want you, please, bring back to drinks and then check the first 5 rows of the drinks. And if you can see that, please give me the third I5, type 5. Thank you, John. Thank you, Hawaii. Alvaro, merci. Because the numbers that you can see here, thank you, everybody. Because the numbers that we see here are quite small, we want to do something to have some reasons for having comma separated things. For doing that, I want you to create a new column named X and look at wine servings. We multiply that by 1000 and we create something for drinks.total liters of pure alcohol, which is this one, and we multiply it by 1000, right? Okay, after doing so, let me just make sure that I'm sorry. After doing so, if you say these are 2 lines, let me see if I can copy them into the chat box. I guess I can. You see that we have 2 columns that they exceed the 3 digits. So now we can play that game to ask the system to show comma separated values. Well, for this one, we just type this, and I explain a little bit. We say for display a float format, actually we use those expressions, regular expressions that we say colon, comma, so means whatever the number is, have comma separated, and we say dot format. Longer story short, if you just type that and if you run it, you see that for Y we have that comma separated things, right? It works. But as you might already discovered it didn't impact the X column, although it contains more than 3 digits. And the reason for that is, as you see, we said display .float format and not integer format. While we know that if you just say drinks.type, it shows that the wine servings as well as X, they are both integers and not float. Is it clear why we couldn't have comma separated? If it is clear, please type 1. Yes, thank you very much, Al Gore. Awesome. So one of the band-aid solutions that we can do is thank you very much. That's what I wanted to say. To the best of my knowledge, Anand, I couldn't find any. I don't think that we have that for integers. And what I do actually in such cases, you could guess, I simply just change the type as type from the integer to floating. And you might say, Reza, in that case, it's going to show that kind of unpleasant .00, right? Kind of things that I don't want to see all the time. The solution for that is already here as well. You can just say, in that case, display the precision, comma, 0. Could I answer your question, Anand? My pleasure. I quickly review what I said to Anand. In the case that you want to have that for your integer columns, the best to do is convert the type of those columns from integer into doubles, into float, and then use the same mechanism, and then say, I don't want to see any precision by turning that setting into 0. Okay, great question. The tip for this one is, and I asked you that question before. Actually, there are 2 tips here. Let's just switch to the colorful environments, maybe. Yeah, it could be a bit. Here is the bonus. And that is what, if you want to see options, you simply can, without using internet, if for any reason that happens, you can simply say pandas dot describe option, right? And then simply you can just search for row, and it's not going to be a part of definition, but a part of display dot name. So you see here we have multi-row, or in the other parts you can see they are just part of the names. Unfortunately, I didn't take multiple screenshots, but it should be part of the name to show anything about rows. And the last bonus point for this one would be, if you say pd.reset option and you pass all, it is going to reset everything, like number of rows, number of columns. In other words, everything that you would have in your display options, right? So you don't need to, if I mess around with all those things and the result was not that much magnificent and I want to bring it back to the default factory setting, I don't need to do and switch them off one by one. I just simply say pd.reset underscore option, passing all as the parameter, and it's going to change everything in one shot. And by saying that, actually, I could finish PowerPoint's number 28. I was optimistic to go any further and could cover more PowerPoints, but the reality is I knew that normally we could just finish 2 PowerPoints in each hour, and that's the reason that I set them like that. So tomorrow in the first hour of the lab, we are gonna finish the rest of 2 PowerPoints that I couldn't complete today. And for those people who cannot make it for any reason for tomorrow, I assure you that you can simply watch the video. I share the video channel, and also I'm going to share the content that you might need for reviewing and for the final. And if there is any concern or anything that you might need to discuss, please feel free. Tomorrow and a week after are good times to sit and discuss those concerns. The last thing that I want to tell, maybe somebody like Anand, someone like Algor Nash, they are very quick in answering the tomorrow's question. And that makes someone like Reza nervous that, well, what if I cannot finish it in 2 hours? The good thing is, if you come, for instance, at 8 o'clock and we finish the content, you can stay in the lab. I'm sure that we are not going to have that much friends to join, and you can stay there as long as you need to finish those, what do we call it? Questions. That is the idea. And so there is no time limit, but the only time limit is 6 o'clock that I have to leave, and I have something to do. Otherwise, I could promise to stay even more. I don't know if everything is clear. Thank you once again for coming to the session. Before you leave, I want to ask you if you please just go to the assessment, and please go to the quiz. And if you have gone there before, refresh your page, and please confirm if you can see quiz number 10. Diego, thank you very much. Bravo. Thank you very much once again. I wish you the best for the rest of your evening, and hopefully see you tomorrow. Have a good one. Take care. Ciao. Merci. Bye.